Make up.
Tapping into the true potential of the human spirit. This is Humanity Empowered. This is the Implicit Show. What up, what up, what up? Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Implicit Show. Actually, this is episode 2, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm your host today, Bren Zube. And we've got a special guest here. You guys know him, I'm sure, if you guys know any of the podcasts we've done in the past or any of that stuff, or if you're involved with the Motivation Mastermind. Either way, you guys are going to know this guy. And he's been a huge inspiration to me and my brother and what we're doing with the podcast and with everything. So I'm pumped to have him on the show. Let's talk about it. Bearj, what's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Man, podcasting, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I just had a live stream myself last night. It was off the hook and out of hand. So this is lots of fun to do. It's great communicating with everybody on Facebook. And I still think it's really amazing that you and I are in different parts of the world talking to each other. And not only are we talking to each other, we're talking to each other over video. I'm sitting in a cafe near my home through the Wi-Fi, talking to you in Canada. We can see each other, and there are people watching this on Facebook at the same time. That blows my mind. What an incredible time we live in. Yet people still think that they have limits, that they have barriers to being successful in life. And I don't know where they get that from.
Yeah, man, it's actually interesting you say that, because that's the thing about today's episode is we're live on more than just Facebook. We're actually live to YouTube and Twitch, which is really cool. So we're kind of pushing the barriers a little bit. We're seeing what we could do. We're trying different things. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, or one of the topics you brought up, was what you just said, is obstacles. You know, so many people are dealing with different obstacles in life. And how
you like that segue? You like how I just did that smooth transition?
Oh, yeah. Smooth, man. That's why you're on the show. That's why you're here. So tell me a little bit about that. I mean, I could talk about obstacles all day long, because I mean, I've been there myself. I just let so many things stop me from getting to where I want to go. So let's start this.
All right. So I think there are two kinds of people in the world. I think in any case, there's always the dark view and the light view. It's either positive or negative with anything. It doesn't matter what it is. So with 2017 here, excuse me, I apologize. I have a little bit of a cough today. With 2017 here, people are setting goals, they're setting resolutions, they're making decisions on what they want to see their life be like by the end of 2017, or what they want to have come to them, or what types of things they want to accomplish, or who they want to become in 2017. And I think most people set those goals with the idea of, well, this is what I know I can do, so that's what I'll set as a goal. Because if I set more than that, I could fail, and that would be pretty embarrassing, and I would feel uncomfortable with that. And I don't want to be viewed as someone who failed at something, so I'll avoid failure, and I'll only allow myself to set a goal that is far enough to make it feel like I'm doing something, but close enough that will make me feel comfortable. I did that when I was graduating from high school. I was choosing what I wanted to major in, and I had no idea what I wanted to major in. I ended up going to this school called Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science. It's now called Philadelphia University. And the way I picked my major, Bren, was I went through the course syllabus and I picked something that didn't sound too hard, but also didn't seem like it was ridiculously easy, that it would be embarrassing that I was taking something so easy. And that's a ridiculous way to approach life, but I think a lot of people do that on a daily basis. We pick a goal that we are pretty certain we can achieve, like we're really not trying either. It looks like it has the appearance of something that's difficult to do. And we create these obstacles in our mind for why we can't achieve it. But here we are today, like I said a few minutes ago, I'm in a cafe using Wi-Fi with my laptop. Right there is my my webcam built into my computer, and I'm talking to someone that I met through Facebook 4 months ago, who I've become friends with, that we've never met for real, skin to skin. We've met face to face, but not skin to skin. And it blows my mind that can happen in this age. A little while ago today, one of my coaching students was holding their baby up on the screen so I could see their baby. And I was connecting with them at a level that if I was out someplace meeting them, I couldn't, because they could share their family with me. They could share their home with me. And I couldn't do that before. And it amazes me that we can do that today, yet we still put limits on ourselves with what we believe about ourselves, with what we see as obstacles, whereas other people might see as a challenge, some people see as obstacles. So I think that's really what we want to talk about today, is how we view something. What perspective are we taking? Are we seeing something as an obstacle or a challenge? Because they're two different things, aren't they, Bren?
I'd have to say so for sure, man. Because that's the thing, is obstacles and challenges, they're really the same thing. It's something that is keeping you from a goal or from a feeling or from whatever you want, right? But it's really your outlook on what that is, right? Because like you said, if it's an obstacle, it's something that you allow to stop you a lot of times. And not a lot of people feel like they have the ability to break through obstacles, right? But a challenge, on the other hand, people love a challenge, because that's something that's kind of pushing you to become more. It's kind of testing your limits. It's which obstacles do as well, but it's interesting how.
I think the difference is, if you see a challenge and you say, that looks too hard, it's become an obstacle to you. But if you see a challenge and you say, I want to conquer that, then it's simply something you need to step over. It's not an obstacle. It's an interruption. It's something you see as a way to grow, something that you see as a way to expand yourself, something that you can use to expand your mindset, expand who you are, expand your sense of what reality is in the world. So who is it? I'll ask our viewers today, who is it that you see yourself as? Because it's not who you are that holds you back. This is really important. If you have a pen and paper, write this down. If you don't have a pen and paper, pick one of these up right now and take out your notepad and write down this quote, because this will change your life. It is not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you are not. That's it in a nutshell. It's not who you are that holds you back. No one was born. I was talking with someone earlier today. We were talking about Facebook like campaigns and ad campaigns and things like that. And I said, this will work for anybody. As long as you get the formula right, it works for anybody. Facebook hasn't decided that your DNA is not DNA that this will work for. Systems work because systems work. Systems are not do not discern, well, I don't like Bren because he has a nose ring, and Cam is okay because he has long hair. It doesn't work that way. You aren't born into a certain level of success. The only thing keeping you from success is the 6 inches between your ears, who you think you are. Because it is not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you are not. And when you get that straight and you figure that out, that's not the problem. Isn't me. The problem is who I think I am. Then you can start to take the next step, which is, well, let me fix who I am. So are you seeing things as obstacles, or are you seeing things as challenges? And I'm curious, what are some of the obstacles you have this year? What are some of the, better to say, challenges that you have in 2017 that you need to overcome in order to reach your goals, that you need to overcome in order to get to that place in life that you want to be? Or maybe there's something that's just there. Maybe it has nothing to do with a goal or anything. It's just something that is a product of life right now, and you need to overcome that in order to continue, in order to survive, in order to move to that next phase in your life, whatever that may be. Whatever that is, let us know in the comments section, because we can, let's talk about those things. So, Brent, I know, for example, you started this podcast yesterday, you restarted it, whatever you want to call it, and you have some challenges to overcome. You've got some things with You've got some things you've got to learn as far as, hold on a second, my computer's going wild. Talk about challenges and trying to overcome things, right? Right in the middle of that, that's what's going on. Let's see if I can get this back here. Here we go, we're back. All kinds of things. You can see things popping up on my screen all over the place. This is awesome. This is great. So you've got to learn some things with technology, right? You've got to learn how to do this on your own, right?
Yeah, because like before, when we were doing the last podcast, a lot of the technological, techy stuff, whatever, was handled by my brother Cameron. But I knew I had to learn it eventually. Like I knew I had to at some point eventually kind of learn it, do it myself, all that stuff. But yeah, I've been kind of like the past week or so, we've been making a lot of changes with our company, and so I've had to overcome a ton of obstacles. A lot of them were just like me. There's so many things going on at the same time that I had to kind of like manage, and a lot of it, I liked the challenge, honestly, because it felt like I really had to be in so many places at once. And I know if in the future, the next 10 years, 20 years, whatever, I want to be, a successful business person who's having a good impact on the world, I need to be able to handle that kind of, those kind of obstacles and that kind of stress. I don't really want to call it stress, but you know what I'm saying, right? There's going to be obstacles either way. It's all in how you handle it. I like what you said about it's not who you are, it's who you think you're not. It reminded me of another quote that really helped me kind of shift my identity and who I think I am and how I see myself, because I find that your identity is really the source of a lot of your decision making. It's the source of basically how you feel, think, and behave. It's like who you think you are. And there's a quote, I think it had to have been Tony Robbins. He says, the only thing keeping you from getting what you want is the story you have about why you can't have it. And it's exactly what it is, right? It's a story that we create for ourselves. Either it's a story about who you are, a story about what you're capable of, a story about your past, whatever it is, but it's that story that's keeping you, right? And so if you could shift that story, and then you could, maybe instead of the story is, oh, all these obstacles always crush me down. Maybe you could switch the story to, these obstacles are really challenges that are pushing me to come further. Every problem I have is another obstacle for me to grow. Those kind of just belief shifts is really what helped me overcome obstacles, because I find a lot of it is how you see yourself. Right, Bearj?
Exactly. And you had, I think necessity becomes the mother of invention sometimes. When it's necessary for you to do something, you figure it out. But you had a choice last week to say, well, I guess we're not going to do this live stream podcast any longer, or let me face this challenge, learn how to do these things on my own, figure out how to man this by myself, figure out how to be comfortable or get comfortable being uncomfortable doing it by myself, and man up to it. And you decided to step into it rather than step away from it. And it says a lot to who you are. Are you 23 yet?
Not yet, 22, working on it.
As a 22-year-old, it says a lot to who you are at that age. And I think most people tend to want to shy away from things. We give up things too easily. We use this word called try. And that word, I think, is a deadly word. That's the word that kills dreams. It kills them. With 3 letters, T-R-Y, you are killing your dreams when you use that word. Because what you do is when you say the try, I'm going, let me try to do this podcast. Well, if you hit an obstacle, most people, when they say try, they mean as soon as it gets tough, as soon as there's a roadblock, as soon as it becomes difficult, as soon as there's some pushback, as soon as things get uncomfortable for me, I'll quit. And we become okay with that because all our friends say, all of our enabling friends, they pat us on the back and they say, Bren, that's okay. You tried it, man. You tried to do that podcast. You bought that nice mic. You set the system up. You tried it. It didn't work. But you did more than anyone else does. You tried. But let me ask you this question, Bren. If you got in an airplane takes off, you're up in the air, you get up to 10,000 feet, and the pilot comes on. He says, hello, this is your pilot speaking. We are now cruising at an altitude above 10,000 feet. You can now safely walk around the cabin as you're still sitting in your seats. Please keep your seatbelt fastened at all times. We will be landing in Los Angeles, California in approximately 5 hours, where I will try the plane. I don't know about you, but if I heard a pilot say they're going to try to land the plane, I'm going to be thinking, is there a parachute someplace? Because I'm going to try to get out of this plane. I'm not going to let him try to land. I'm going to try to get out. And that's just not how it happens. When that pilot takes off, that pilot is landing the plane. That is their mission. Their mission is to take everyone safely to the other location. If they encounter a storm, they're going to get the people there safely. If they encounter airplane traffic, they're going to get people there safely. If for some reason that airport is closed, they're going to put people someplace else on the ground safely. If they encounter engine trouble, they're going to put people on the ground safely. That's their mission. That's what they practice. I have a pilot's license, and most of what you practice is called emergency procedures, because the goal is to make sure that plane comes back onto the ground safely. But we don't approach our lives in the same way. We don't approach our goals in the same way. We take off and we allow ourselves to crash. And we say that's okay. How and in what universe is that okay?
Yeah. It's a good point, man. It's crazy how so many people, and I'm not pointing fingers, I'm guilty of this myself, but we're hesitant to go all in on what it is we want. We're hesitant to go all in on our goals or on our dreams or on our health or on our relationships, our career. Where does that come from? What's that all about?
I think, people are afraid. There are a couple big fears that we have. We don't have as many fears as people think we are. They all kind of get watered down to a couple things. And the main one is that we don't like to be embarrassed. No one likes to be embarrassed. So if you set a goal that you don't achieve and you've told people about it, then you're embarrassed if you don't hit it. It's the same reason people say that they fear public speaking. They don't really fear public speaking. They fear the embarrassment that comes with making a mistake in front of a lot of people that they don't like. And that's the main thing that most people fear. Some people fear dying, right? We fear that moment of death because we don't know what's on the other side. But that and being embarrassed, they're the things that people fear. And we will do whatever we can to feel comfortable. That's our subconscious taking over. Our subconscious's job is to keep us safe. That's what it's here for. It's to keep us safe. So whatever you've trained your subconscious to believe is safe for you, that's the system that overrides everything. So if you've trained your subconscious to believe that being safe is staying on the ground at all times, if you get into an airplane, as soon as that airplane starts to roll down the runway, your subconscious is going to say, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me off this plane. Or you might not even get there. Or maybe on the way to the airport, you'll start feeling sick to your stomach and you'll throw up because your subconscious is taking over your body and saying, get out. I have speaking students who ask me, why is it that when I go to speak, I start to speak too fast? And I tell them it's because your subconscious is saying, get me out of here. I don't like this place. This is uncomfortable. Talk faster so we can get out of here sooner. And that's the key. That's what it's all about. We've got to retrain who we are inside so that, because we have to grow from the inside out, right? Everything grows from the inside out. When you do that, you can retrain your subconscious. You can accomplish a whole lot more.
It's really interesting you say that, because I feel like a lot of what we talk about, a lot of the conversations we have somehow lead to the subconscious mind. And it's so interesting because it's like the brain, our subconscious, ourselves, whatever you want to call it, we don't, like, our brain's not made to make us happy. It's made to keep us safe, to keep us alive, right? That's the subconscious mind. It's not trying to make us happy as much as it's trying to keep, like, ensure our survival, right? And
right.
So I feel like every day, sometimes for some people, I know for me, it almost feels like you're constantly at battle with yourself. You're like, okay, my body's telling me to do this, or my subconscious is telling me to back off, but like, I know I need to do this. And so it's interesting how, our conscious mind is kind of pushing on our subconscious mind, or at least, that's what we try to do. How do you kind of influence the subconscious? I mean, we could do an entire episode on this, but how could we influence our subconscious in a way to overcome those obstacles in our lives?
Right. So there's a book called The Ant and the Elephant. And if you picture in your mind an ant and an elephant, one is very, very small. One is very, very large. One is close to the smallest thing on earth, and the other is close to the largest thing on earth. The ant is your conscious mind, and the elephant is your subconscious mind. Imagine an ant trying to direct an elephant where to go. That's tough to do, right? It's tough to do even if you're not an ant, because an elephant's going to move the way it's going to move. Your subconscious mind contains all of your imagination, all of your ideas. It all comes from your subconscious mind. Have you ever had a moment where, 3 weeks ago you were trying to recall someone's name, and suddenly here it is 3 weeks later, you're walking down the street and the name pops into your head, just like that. It's because you planted the seed in your subconscious 3 weeks ago to find that name in your mental Rolodex, and your subconscious kept working and working and working and working until it finally found it, like seeking something out on the hard drive of your computer. When it got it, popped into your conscious mind. So that subconscious is controlling everything. It has everything to do with your emotions. Our emotions is what drive us. We make our decisions all based on emotions. That ant is the facts. The ant controls all of those things, all of the facts in life, the real things that are tangible. So if the ant is driving the elephant and the ant says, let's go across this bridge, and the elephant says, no, I don't like bridges. I get scared. I'm afraid they're going to collapse because I'm a big old elephant. It's not going to work. The elephant will stop. The ant cannot push the elephant across that until the elephant learns that that's an irrational fear. Maybe the elephant sees another elephant go across the bridge. That can be something that can help. Maybe the elephant starts to, use the feelings in life and the ideas in life, imagery, to retrain itself to understand that it's okay to go over that bridge. So that's the kind of things we have to work on. So, for example, someone who has a fear of flying, let's say, what can they do to get over that fear of flying? That's a legitimate fear that a lot of people have. And it doesn't matter how many facts you show them about flying, it doesn't make any difference. The reality is they're afraid of flying because of some experience that they had that caused them to feel a certain way. And their subconscious will stop them from doing anything so that it doesn't get that feeling again, because it doesn't like that feeling. So what do they have to do? They have to retrain their subconscious mind. Now, some people do things like hypnosis. Some people, there are all kinds of different therapies you can go through to retrain that subconscious mind to get over that fear. But that's where it has to come from. It has to come from within. Facts will not change it. It's got to be an emotional thing. Losing weight. Everyone knows how to lose weight. There's not a single person in the world that doesn't know if you eat less and move more, those two things will help you to lose weight. They're just facts. We all understand that. There's not a person who doesn't understand that. Yet there are people who, no matter what, cannot lose weight or won't do the things that they need to do to lose weight. Well, what kinds of things change that? So let's say someone went to the doctor and the doctor said, look, if you don't lose weight, you're 35, you have a daughter who's 5 years old, you will never see her in high school, you will never see her get married because you will not be around long enough. That fear overcomes the other issues, right? And suddenly that food that was a comfort becomes a discomfort. And they see things in a different way. Maybe that person who has a fear of flying has a loved one thousands of miles away that they need to see right away. And the only way to get there is by getting in an airplane. And that reason to do it becomes much greater than that reason not to do it. Pushes them into it, and they can get over their fear. So there are a lot of ways that it happens, but understanding first where it comes from is the key. That's the first thing. So what obstacles have you in front of you this year that you need to overcome if you want to reach your goals? What obstacles do you have in front of you that you need to overcome because they're just there? They may have nothing to do with your goals, but they're just there.
Mm-hmm. Actually, that's a question I'm gonna direct that question to people in the comment section. Like, what obstacles do you need to overcome this year? Because like Bearj said, it's the obstacles that really keep us from those things. And if we could get rid of that obstacle, or at least create some sort of more compelling reason to do that, then that's huge. I mean, for myself personally, I think one of my obstacles is like focus. I find I'm so focused on so many different things, and I think if I could really focus on one thing at a time and keep my focus directed and laser, I could really achieve a lot more. So that's one of my obstacles this year that I definitely have to overcome. And that's something that I'd have to overcome on a subconscious level, right, Bearj? Like, do you have any suggestions for me as somebody who needs more subconscious focus?
And that's actually a struggle for me too, Bren. We've kind of said a bunch of times that you and I are kind of come from the same mold, just a bunch of years later. One's you're a little younger than me, maybe a lot younger, but we have a lot of the same personality traits and a lot of the same obstacles, I think, in life. And that's one of the tough things for me is, I'll sit at my computer with something that I've got to get done, but I'll be working on 5 things at the same time, and you're not anywhere near as productive that way. You've got to work on one thing at a time. And the way to do that is maybe reward yourself, right? If I do this for this much time, or put a clock, set your phone for 1 hour. I'm going to do this for 1 hour. I'm not going to do anything else. And set these small stepping stone goals for yourself and retrain yourself to operate in another way rather than in the old way. So, is that easy to do? I mean, yeah, it is. Is it something that's simple? Yeah, the concept is simple. It still might be, take some time and some effort to be able to do that, and some mind effort, right? Because we tend to focus because we have so much creativity going on. That's where that comes from. For us, it's from creativity, and we want to constantly be creating. We're tired of this one thing already. We've got to go start creating the next thing. And as soon as we start creating that, our idea is already formulated in our mind. So we don't need to finish it because it's already finished here. So we want to go start something else. And once that's finished here, we start another thing. And then wait, I never did this. We've got all these incomplete things. So we have to learn how to focus on one thing at a time, where some people might say, well, I can't focus on one thing at a time. You can't because you said you can't. Not because you can't. Because you said you can't. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So figure that out. Who is it that you think you're not? And then realize, well, that's just because that's what I think.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Like, you can bring it back right to the beginning of the episode. It says, it's not who you are, it's who you think you aren't, right? And so I think a lot of it really comes back to your identity. I mean, one of the things that has changed my life more than anything else is developing self-awareness. Like developing, because like you said, Bearj, it's like, you have this problem. You know that it's tough to focus, right? But if you didn't know that, if you were just oblivious to that, how are you ever going to overcome that obstacle? So I think a big part of, knowing the obstacles that you're going to overcome this year, how you're going to do it, is developing that self-awareness. And I mean, you could do that in so many ways. Just ask yourself a bunch of powerful questions, get a coach or a friend to listen to you. You could just do like a 3-hour meditation. There's so many ways to develop self-awareness. But I think that is a huge key when it comes to everything we talk about, because it's like the beginning. It's like the first step. That's the way I see it anyways. So we're going to have to wrap.
Ago, Brent.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. We need to wrap up?
No, you go ahead. You got a good idea.
What I was going to say is 3 years ago, I left my job. It's a little bit more than 3 years ago. I walked away from my job to become a speaker. I had no idea how to become a speaker. I had no idea. I had zero clue. I knew I could. I knew I had the talent. I knew I had the ability. I knew if someone plunked me on a stage, I could speak. How to get myself on the stage was the part that I didn't know. But there were some other things that I had to do. I had to do things like this that I felt uncomfortable having my face up on a screen. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I sounded. It was uncomfortable to me. So I started in a place where I was comfortable. I started doing a morning, I called it Bearj at 7:55. At 7:55 every morning, I would do a conference call. People would call into the conference call for 5 minutes, I talked for 5 minutes. I wished them a great day, and that was it. And I had a lot of people who'd tune in the morning. They'd call in, they'd dial in. I'd watch it populate. I had some intro music. I spoke. I had some exit music, and I was done in 5 minutes. I had to come up with content every day, and it gave me something to focus on, something to aim at every day. Little by little, I decided I needed a way to stay in touch with these people because I could only be in touch with them if they called. And I moved that to creating an MP3, which I then started to work on some videos. I did a video once in a while. Now I have a YouTube channel. Now I have my own live stream podcast radio show on Facebook, which developed over 3 years. And I had to, for each step of that, get more comfortable with what I was doing. Last night, I interviewed John Leslie Brown, who is the son of Les Brown. Les Brown, if you don't know who Les Brown is, he's one of the top motivational speakers in the world. And his son, John Leslie, is maybe a notch below him. Maybe he's even with him. And I told him last night, he said that he was so excited that I called him and asked him to be on my show because he wouldn't have called and asked me. And I said, I was worried that you would say no. I was nervous about calling you. And we were laughing at the fact that each person was nervous about speaking to the other. And it's crazy that we think that. And in the middle of the podcast, he brought on 5 Harvard students. And talk about being a fish out of water. These guys were talking about things I had never heard of before. When they were telling me what they were studying, I didn't even know the name of what they were studying. It was insanity to me. But I was the host of the show, and I had to somehow keep it together. It was a little bit wild. It was a little bit crazy. But at one point, we were talking about mindset and people living small. And I quoted John Leslie's dad. I said, who are you to live small? And I'll ask the viewers that right now. Who are you to live small? You were given this incredible gift of life. You are one out of 250 million sperm to make it to be a person. 249,999,999 other sperm did not make it to fertilize the egg. Only you did. That's because there's something significant about you. There's something majorly significant about you. Something no one else has that you have. And if you don't know what that is, that's something you need to discover. That's something you need to go on a journey to discover. Because when you figure out what that is, when you figure out who you are as a core person, there is no obstacle in life that will hold you back. There is no obstacle you won't see as a challenge or something you can hurdle over or dig under or bust through or go around or shoot down. It makes no difference. You will get there because you will know from the core of who you are why you were plunked down here as a human on earth. There's a reason for you. There's a big reason for you. And when you figure that out, that's when the significance of who you are becomes a reality to you. And that's when nothing can hold you back.
Mm-hmm. I love it, man. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Bearj. Seriously, like you've been on so many of our podcast episodes so far.
I like being on with you guys.
You're definitely
with you. I don't like being on with Cam anymore.
Yeah, Cam. Come on, Cam. No. But seriously, like every time you're on the show, you have something like a new idea, a new kind of strategy to bring to the listeners and to me. So like, thank you so much for being an inspiration. Thank you so much for hopping on the show last minute. And yeah, Bearj, real quick before we cap it off here, before we ask the last questions or we get our final words, where can people find you to check out your podcast or the stuff you're working on?
Absolutely. If you go to breakdownthewall.com, that's my website. You can go there. There's a bunch of free stuff you can get. In fact, if you go to breakdownthewall.com/free report, go there and there's a really cool free free report that talks a little bit about mindset and how you can overcome things in life. You can do that there. If you go to Facebook, on Facebook, Bearj.Jehanian is my public figure page. Go there, like my page. I like when people like my page. And that is also where you can watch my live stream. My live stream is Monday nights at 7 p.m. Bren was my first guest. You got to hear him play the guitar. That's still on Facebook, so you want to definitely check that out and watch him and listen to him play guitar. I felt super honored to have him play on there. That was really cool. Maybe we should have him do that on here sometime. And like I said, last night I interviewed John Leslie Brown. We had 5 Harvard students on there. We were talking about mindset. We were talking about mirror neurons. We were talking about John Leslie's new book called The Harvard Effect. And next week, I got another guest next week. I haven't lined them up yet. It's not etched in stone yet who it is, but I've got some cool guests in mind in coming weeks. So it's a lot of fun. Break Down the Wall Radio is what it's called. And it will soon be on iTunes. It's in a few weeks, that'll be up on iTunes as well. And it's also on my YouTube channel.
Boom. Boom. You heard it, guys. Go check out Break the Wall. Kaboom. Go check out Break the Wall Radio, and you could hear
Break Down the Wall. Break Down the Wall Radio.
Go check out Break Down the Wall Radio, and you can check out the first episode I did with Bearj. It was a lot of fun. I got to play some music. We got to talk about my story and the lessons I learned along the way. So definitely go check out Bearj's episode. Anyways, Bearj, give us your peace sign. See your peace sign.
Peace. There.
Peace, guys. Live it.